this. Y'all look a little quiet, and it's late at night. It's 7 o'clock, and you're like, oh my gosh, we just came to chill. Anybody came to chill? Everybody came to chill? Do me a favor, stand on your feet really quickly. Y'all like, this is not that type of stuff. Come on, stand up really quick. Stand up really quickly. We're going to be good. It's only going to be about 30 seconds. I promise you. You like I'm working you out already. You ready? You ready? All right, everybody, really quickly. Really quickly. Let's see if we can do this. Bring it. Come on. I just want you to wave your hands. Left, right. Come on. Okay, let's go. Come on. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Then we're going to make a step to this side. Ready? Here we go. Come on. Come on. Other way. Other way. Other way. Yeah. All right, cool. See, she's mad at me. I'm just trying to get the energy moving. All right, everybody, welcome to the session. Brand building in a digital era. Do I need to have this microphone up for me? Do me a favor. Tell somebody close to you. Tell them pay attention. All right, turn to somebody else and tell them pay attention. Would you be surprised if I told you that most of the time when you tell people to pay attention, they really don't? All right, well, let me ask you something else. Tell somebody, buy this. Okay, tell somebody else. Tell them, buy this. Okay, yeah, hold something out to them and tell them to buy it. Would you be flabbergasted if I told you that most of the time when you tell people to buy stuff, they really don't? They don't. Okay, let me ask you to do one more thing. Tell somebody, come here. Really quickly, tell somebody, come here. Okay, no, y'all didn't do it. Come on, tell somebody, come here. Just point at somebody and say, come here. Okay, all right. Would you be shocked if I told you, actually, no, that one might actually work, because if my wife says, come here, I'm gonna go. All right, so let's talk really quickly. I had a brokerage that I was teaching, doing some workshops for. And as I went into the workshop, as I went into the brokerage, I noticed that there were only a few people there. There were only a couple of people in the broker. So I asked the broker, I said, hey, where are your people? And she said, well, we've been struggling. We've been having a hard time getting people in for our training sessions. And I said, why is that? She said, well, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I said, how are you getting in touch with them? How are you asking them to come into the session? She said, well, we're emailing them. I said, okay. So what's happening? She said, well, you see, they're not here, right? I'm emailing them, trying to get them to pay attention, but they're out there trying to get people to buy this. And guess what? Now you see that nobody's here to attend the session. How many of you feel like you're doing stuff in your business? You're telling people, pay attention, and you're telling them, buy this, and yet you're feeling like nobody's listening to you. Right? You're yelling. Somebody said, hey, in order to run a business, you got to post on Facebook. You got to post on Instagram. You got to do stuff on YouTube. You got to do stuff on Pinterest. You got to do stuff on X. You got to do stuff on all of Snap. You got to do stuff on all these other channels. So you're like, dude, I've been doing that. I've been posting my butt off. I've been posting. And it's like I'm posting into a vacuum, into a void, and nobody's listening. Anybody feel like that in their business? Let me ask you really quickly. Since it's a smaller group, I want to ask you a little bit about your business. Just say your name really quickly and just tell me what your business is or what business you're planning to have really quickly. Just 5 seconds, really quickly. Go ahead. Yep. Fantastic. Let's go. Love it. Let's go. You're starting a business. I love it. What kind of business? Oh, you're studying business. I love it. Yes. Same. You're studying business. Okay. Yep. Love it. Love it. Yes. I love it. Yes, sir. Oh, I know you. Yeah. Go ahead. Tell me. I love it. Media consulting services. So as you have your business, one of the things that you got to do is you got to get attention, right? You got to get leads. Anybody struggling to do that? Just 2 people? Okay. All right. All right. Everybody else is doing well, getting all the leads that they need. So here's the thing that I want to ask you. You're doing what you need to do in your business, right? You've heard some of the gurus say, you need to do this. You need to be on this platform. You're like, I'm doing everything that you told me to do, right? I'm sharing with people my products and services, and still everybody is not buying. Everybody's not doing what I need them to do. But here's the reason, partly why that happens. Okay, here's number one challenge with that. Human beings, by their very nature, are resistant to being told what to do. I say it one more again. Human beings, by their very nature, are resistant to being told what to do. Y'all know anybody like that? Right? My wife could be right. My wife could be right, riggedy right. My wife could be right to the highest rights of rightstivity, and still, if she says to me, you need to do something, or you should, my neck go, no, I don't. Right? Because humans are resistant to being told what to do, unless there's a payoff for them. I want you to think about yourself. I want you to think about how you watch TV. I want you to think about your actions, your activities. You are resistant to commercials unless there is a payoff for you somehow. Anybody ever seen a commercial and that commercial comes on so often that you're like, the first couple of times you watch it, it's whatever. Third time you watch it, it's whatever. It's like background noise. And then by the fifth time, the seventh time, you find yourself in the supermarket, you find yourself in some store and you see that product and you're like, let me see if I can pick that thing up, right? Because they broke you down now, right? They've been pushing this thing over and over. You were resistant to it at first, but then finally you get to the place where you're like, okay, I see a need. There's a payoff for me in some way. Second challenge is that people are busy. People are running around. People have all sorts of stuff happening in their space, and people pay attention to a lot of different things. All right? So here's a question for you. You've got a business, or you're starting a business, or you're thinking about a business, and there's some stuff that you got to do in business in order to stay in business. One of those is the idea of marketing, right? How many people enjoy marketing? How many people are business owners and you say you enjoy marketing? She's like, She's like, no, okay. No, you don't enjoy marketing. So let me ask you this question. What is marketing exactly? What is marketing? Say again? Marketing is sales, she says. Okay. Yep. Okay. Marketing is communicating the problem that you solve. Anybody else? What is marketing? Yep. Getting strangers to prospects. Just random people on the street. You're like, hey, all right, now, okay, right? Okay. So part of the reason that a lot of people don't like marketing is because marketing feels very weird. It feels cringy. It feels salesy. And you're like, I don't like doing that, right? You're putting yourself out there. Marketing to you, if you watch this show back in the early 2000s, right? Marketing for you feels like, hey, look what I can do, right? That's what it feels like to y'all. And you're like, I don't like that. I don't like to put myself out there and have everybody look at me because it just feels weird. It feels awkward. Here's what marketing is. Study.com says marketing is the process of creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging products or services that are valuable to customers, clients, partners, and society. Right? That's a big old definition. But we're not going to talk about what marketing is tonight. But I know the question that you've got is, okay, you just gave us this definition, but how do we do it? And what works? Well, I'm going to show you something that does work. Now, you came to this session and you're starting business, and business is hard enough as it is. So if you came tonight and you expected to get 15 things that are going to work and you're going to write all of them down, then you go home and get confused and you're not going to do any of them. That's not what we're doing tonight, right? We are going to give you three simple things that you can do. One of them, the biggest thing, is video. How many of you are using video at all? Okay, some people got two hands up. Some person got one hand. Some people got no hands. Okay, video is one of the biggest things that you can use, and we're going to show you in a few moments why. Not just video, though. I want you to think about the idea of video storytelling. You got to tell a story. You've got to tell a story. Most of us don't tell stories with our videos. Why? Because we saw that somebody else was online and they told you that you had to be online, you had to do videos. And so we just say, okay, I'm going to go live. And we're like, hello, hello, hello. And we say it 3 times. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Hey, guys. And we say all the stuff and we get on, then we get mad because nobody's watching. And then so we don't do it anymore. But I want to show you a couple of things. Number one, you want to do video in your business, but one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people don't do it that much is because they've got a lot of excuses. They say it's complicated. They say it's time consuming. They say it's expensive. Raise your hand if you resonate with any of these so far. All right. It's expensive. I don't want to be on camera. Go ahead, raise your hand if you resonate with any of this, right? I don't know what to say, right? All right. My makeup ain't right. Okay, come on with me. All right. My forehead's too big. Come on. All right, let's go. All right, my nose is shiny. All right, let's go. Come on. So you're coming up with stuff, all sorts of reasons, right? I don't know about you, but I used to not want to go on video because everything in my face looked so much bigger on camera. And I would watch myself back on camera and I'd be like, oh my God, my nose, okay, right? And I look, oh, my forehead, the top of my head is shiny. I would say all sorts of stuff and I would talk myself out of being on video. Until I recognized something. So I used to sing in a boy band back in the day, a gospel group. And we went to the studio to record. So the producer was like, okay, Robert, it's your turn to go into the booth and record your solo. I go into the booth, I record my solo, and I come out and we sit on the chair. And he says, okay, we're going to listen back to it. I said, no, we shouldn't listen back to the song. Why do we need to listen back? So we could hear how it sounds. Okay, we're going to listen. No, I don't want to listen back to it. Why do you not want to listen back to the song? Because I don't like the way my voice sounds on recording. He said, so you know that voice that you hate hearing, you know that's the one that we hear all the time and we're cool with it, right? I don't know what happened in my brain. It had not occurred to me that my voice was the same voice that everybody else was hearing. For a lot of us, it never occurs to us that the face that you got is the face that everybody else is seeing, and they've already made up their mind about your face. All right? So when you're on video and you're seeing stuff, you're exaggerating the stuff that you see, but everybody else has already seen it, right? So we make up stuff all the time. So here's what I'd like for you to consider as we walk through this. You want to market to your market. You want to share information. You want to create visibility. You want people to see and know that you solve a problem, but your time is limited. So what we want to walk through, and I want to share with you 3 simple things. The point of today is, number 1, we're going to help you to cut through resistance real quick. Everybody say cut through resistance. Come on. All right, let's go. We're going to get attention. Everybody say get attention. All right. And then finally, we're going to help you to waste less time. Everybody say waste less time. All right, good. Now, we're going to share with you 3 what I call easy video strategies that are going to help you to increase your visibility and your leads. And we're going to make this simple for you. I'm not going to overcomplicate this. As a matter of fact, at the end, I'm going to give you a challenge. I'm going to have you do something. Okay? Now, I want to share with you what I call the power of storytelling and video. I'm going to take you back. I'm going to take you way back. I'm going to take you way, way back. All the way back to the 90s. 1994, to be exact. In 1994, I was, just getting out of college. Some of y'all are like, dang, okay, right? I was just getting out of college, and I was watching TV, and all of a sudden, the TV program was interrupted. And here's what came on the TV. I was watching my good shows too. And something came on TV that interrupted my life. And I thought it was just going to be about a minute. I thought it was going to be 2 minutes. Do you not know for the next 3 or 4 hours, they had this thing playing, not just on one channel, not one, not two, not three, but every, E-R-Y, every channel that was available on TV. They had this thing playing, right? And what was amazing to me about this was, how many of you ever seen one of those shows where they show you car chases? Right? You see car chases happening and people are just, they're going crazy and the police are doing it and you got helicopters and you got all sorts of stuff happening. This was a car chase where the dude was doing the speed limit the entire time. And we were all sitting in front of our TV watching it. Why were we watching this white Bronco drive down the highway with a line of about 17 police cars behind it, not trying to pass it, not trying to put those tire strips out, not trying to take the car out, but just following behind it? Why were we watching this? Well, this was one of the first times that we had been let into the world of drama as it was happening. Real time, live, right, on video. Everything else was a report that we saw later in the, this was live video, right? And this was an amazing story. Let me tell you about this story real quick. This story had everything. It had everything that would make a really good story. It had murder, right? It had a car chase, well, a speed limit chase, right? It had a car chase. It had characters, and there were some amazing characters in this story. You had OJ, the ex-football player. You had his best friend, Al, that was driving him at the speed limit down the highway. Yeah, you had, who's on the phone? No, I was driving it. Oh, he might have been on the phone. Okay, you had Al. You had Cato, the house guest that was unwitting and heard bumps in the night. You had the Judge Ito, that was no nonsense. You had the attorney. You had the other attorney that didn't do so well and whose business didn't grow so well after losing this case, right? So you had all these different characters. And then you had a court scene. Oh yeah, a court scene is a good scene. A court scene makes any story really great, right? Then you had the central item, which was, the glove, right? You had a glove. And then after that, you had an acquittal. All of this made for great drama and a great story. And here's what happens. Stories have 4 main elements. As we walk through this tonight really quickly, I want you to keep in mind storytelling. Everybody say storytelling. I want you to keep this in mind. Stories have 4 main elements: context, characters, conflict, and conclusion. All right? And I'm not going to go in detail in all of this. I've got some other sessions that walk through storytelling in more detail. That's not our purpose tonight. Storytelling is going to be our thread, but it's not going to be that, we're not going to dive deep into all of this. But I wanted to point out that story was a part of this process. Okay, so context is really what's happening in the world of your audience. Conflict is the drama, the what's broken, the what's happening. Okay, and then you had a climax in this story, and then finally you had a conclusion. All right, she's looking around. Yes, that was on purpose. Right? So you had a conclusion in this story. Now, what does all of this have to do with marketing and video? What does this have to do with marketing and video? Well, here's the deal. If you look right on the screen in 2023, we're in 2024 now, or at least most of us, right? We're in 2024. And in 2023, video was listed as the #1 source of information for 66% of people, right? Over 500 million people watch Facebook videos every day, and more than 75% of those come from mobile views. We got in here and some of y'all sat down. What'd you do? You opened up your phone and you started to scroll and you started to look at some videos, right? Let me show you something else. More than 80% of online traffic is video traffic. This make sense? Everybody believe that, or you think I'm just making stuff up? right? Most of the traffic online is video traffic. Almost every social channel is leaning into video. So you got TikTok that came out, their video. You have Instagram, mainly video, okay? Then you had Facebook started to put some stuff together, and recently LinkedIn, the business platform, has now had this feed for videos. Why is that important? Because as business owners, if you're not taking advantage of that, then you're missing some stuff. Check this out. On the internet, 2023, what are the types of videos that are out? Okay, 92.8% of them were people watching that. 50% of the videos that people were watching, music videos. As a matter of fact, people started making songs about video. Video, see, all right? He said, don't, okay, so y'all, that was my joke. All right, I got that. Anyway, all right. So what does this have to do with marketing and video? Here's the deal. If your business is not leveraging video, you're missing out on eyeballs. I want you to think back on what you're doing for your marketing strategies at this point. How are you building your brand at this point? Are you using video for this? A couple of years ago, during the pandemic, I connected with this company, this real estate company, and I started to study what they were doing. A lot of realtors, a lot of real estate companies were putting their properties online. How many of you have ever seen a real estate professional online and they're like, I'm selling this house, right? And they say, come down to the open house on Sunday. It's going to be at 2 o'clock and it's at such and such address. This company started to do things quite a bit differently. They started to add storytelling into their videos. Here's an example of what they did. They would have a camera going into a brand new house. And they go through the front door and they get into the kitchen. And then as they get to the kitchen, a question pops up on the screen and it says, if this were your house at Thanksgiving, what meal are you cooking? Right? And what does that do? That immediately starts your mind to think, okay, yeah, what am I cooking in that kitchen at Thanksgiving? If you got this house, who's the first person you're inviting over? Okay, am I inviting Cheryl over? Who am I inviting over? Right? Am I inviting Paul over? Who am I inviting? Right? My mind starts to think about this. So once they started to lean into storytelling, their leads more than quadrupled. A couple of weeks ago, I interviewed a lady, another real estate professional. She started selling properties the traditional way. Postcards, calling people, wearing a name tag, hustling people in the supermarket. And then she decided she was going to not do that anymore, and she was going to just use video, YouTube, and storytelling. And she started to do that, and she said to me on the show that her leads 10x'd because she was leaning into video. A few more clients, right? I had 3 clients, Jim, Prudence, and Elora. And all of them increased their leads by leaning into video storytelling. Jim is a real estate agent as well. And so what Jim decided to do after we did some of our sessions, Jim said that he was going to talk a little bit more about not just the properties, but how the properties showed up in specific areas. He's going to talk about the weather in specific areas. He's going to give productivity tips. And one of the big things that he did was he had some dogs. Jim loved dogs, and he was sharing all of his information about his dogs on the video. As he started to do that, he started to get more attention, get more leads, right? Prudence decided she was going to lean into video, and before she started to tell stories more, she decided that she wasn't just going to have regular video. She was going to adjust her setup at home. She was going to lean into looking and showing up in a professional way. And because of that, she started to book conferences and begin to speak even more because people were seeing her on video. Elora, grief and mental wellness coach, she told her origin story and her why. When we started working together, she had just started the business, maybe about a few months before, and she was a little bit disappointed because she felt like she was just shouting out. Nobody was paying attention. So I want to talk about that origin story in just a little bit. But why does storytelling work? Well, here's the deal. There was a scientist by the name of Jerome Bruner, and he said that when you wrap a fact or when you wrap data in a story, people are 22 times more likely to remember it. Now, I don't know exactly how true it is. I do know that there was a study, a college study that was done where students that were given information in the form of a story remembered it 6 to 7 times more than students that did not. Why am I telling you this? Because if you have a business, if you have some information that you want to share with prospects or customers, how are you going to get them to remember it? Storytelling and video is a big way to do that. So here's where we're going. What's our time? Okay, we got a little bit of time. All right, so I want you to remember, again, those 4 pillars of storytelling, right, that I just talked about: context, character, conflict, and conclusion. But I have brought them a little bit further into what I call my 3+3 business storytelling framework. Okay, so we've got challenge, catalyst, change, and call. I'm going to walk through this really quickly. And why I'm going to walk through this is because I want you to think about, as you are crafting and creating videos or content for your audience, do you have a structure that you can follow to make it easier for you every time, to make it easy for you to connect with people? Because that's what storytelling does, right? Storytelling leans into people's emotions. Right? I tell a story, people say, okay, yeah, Akima experienced that, right? And so they see you as more human at this point. Give me your name, sir. JD? I just wanted to call your name. All right, how you doing, JD? Fantastic. Glad you're here. Thanks for coming. All right. So as you're telling stories, as you use storytelling inside of your business and your marketing, your leads, all of that, if you have a structure, it makes it much easier for you to begin to create content. All right. So let's go a little bit further and talk about what each of these is. So everybody knows what a challenge is. It's what's broken. It's what's happening in the world of your audience. Who it's happening to, who it's happening with, who is it happening for, what is broken, and what is needed. I want you to keep that in mind. Okay. We're going to keep going. Okay, some of you are taking pictures. You can if you'd like, but at the end, I'm going to give you a QR code to fill out some information, and you'll have a download with all this information. All right? Fantastic. So the catalyst is like the turning point. So you've got a challenge that takes place, and there is a catalyst that says, okay, now I realize what I needed to do. All right, so let me back up for a second. Challenge is important in a story. Why is challenge important? Let me give you an example. There was a couple, they had a child, and they decided they were going to send this child on a trip. So they put the child in a spaceship. The spaceship went to another planet. It landed in a cornfield, and another couple found the child in the cornfield. They took the child out of the spaceship, took the child home, and then they sent the child to school, went to high school, went to college. After college, graduated, went to a newspaper, started working there, met somebody, fell in love, lived happily ever after. What you think about that story? It's got some gaps, right? It's missing some stuff. It's missing some relationship stuff. It's missing some broken stuff. It's missing some drama. It's missing some messy stuff. It doesn't have any bombs. It doesn't have any villains. It doesn't have any people punching each other in the face. It doesn't have anything that is human inside of it, right? So this is why a challenge is important. Every time we speak to our audience, every time we speak to our prospects, our suspects, our customers, our clients, when we speak to them, we've got to approach them from what's up, what's happening, what's messy, what's broken in your world, how can I help you, right? So as we think about our marketing, as we think about our video, we got to start with our challenge, all right? So when we think about our challenge, the next place is, if I'm telling a story about me, I'll say, okay, yep, I was doing this. I was in this space, and then one day I realized that I needed to, boom. That's my catalyst, okay? Once I make the realization, then I make the change. So that's the steps, that's the process, that's the resolution of what's happening, okay? And then finally, I got this thing called the call. That's what the audience needs to do next. He's like, okay, yeah. Welcome, JD. Thank you for coming to our show. Okay. All right. So I wanted you to walk through this with me because I want you to use this over and over again. So here's where we're going next. We're going to share with you these 3 easy video storytelling strategies. Y'all ready? Okay, if you're ready, say ready. All right, good. So we're going to help you increase your visibility and your leads. Now, so Elora told her origin story, and I want you to use this and remember this term. The origin story is, I don't even want you just to think about it as information I'm giving you. I want you to think about it as a tool that you can use in your business. And it's a tool that every business should use. Every business should have. What do I mean by the origin story? Well, before we go to that, I want to point out several story types. So when I talk about storytelling, a lot of people think I'm talking about a personal story, like a once upon a time. What happened last week when I went to the supermarket? What happened when I was driving down the street and I saw those blue and red lights flashing behind me? People think that's a personal story, right? So a personal story typically is something that happened to me and maybe a lesson I learned. But an origin story, which is what I want you to think about, and if you have not captured this and written this down for your business already, I want you to do this. An origin story is, here's how this started. What's your business? Give me that. Say it again. Brayers. You want the name of it? Oh, no. What is it? Brayers. Okay. What does that do?
It helps manufacturers to comply with regulations.
Okay. Is that your business or do you work for that business? No. How did it start?
After a layoff.
Okay. After a layoff. Okay. Cool. So I want us to, and we're going to go in further into that in just a little bit. So here's how this started. So I'll tell you mine, my third business. I was in the state of Massachusetts. I lived in Massachusetts for quite a few years. And in 2008, I was teaching online. My wife and I decided it was time to move. And so we decided we're going to move to Maryland. June 2008, we decided we're going to move to Maryland. So we make the trek. We drive 400 miles, come down to Maryland. We had 3 kids under the age of 5 at the time. So we drive to Maryland. We settle in. 10 days later, I lose my job online. This is the summer. So I did what everybody else does when they lose a job. What do you do when you lose a job? Okay, I'm going to start applying. So I start applying. Monster.com, Indeed, Simply Hired. I'm doing all the things. But I'm getting no responses. Getting no responses at all. I'm getting no interviews. I'm getting no nothing. I've got a family. So I have a degree. I had a master's degree in instructional technology and curriculum. I said, okay, let me see if I can use that. So I found a college professor that needed some courses developed. And so I started to build online courses. So that's kind of how I started the business, okay? So one day I noticed that this important element was missing, and because of that, I did this. So that's a phrase that you can use. I want you to think about that. A friend of mine was blah, 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 blah. So here's an example of an origin story. How many of you heard of Warby Parker? Okay, Warby Parker is a glass eyewear company. If you go to their website, on the About page, it says some college kids were going camping, and one of them, or a few of them, wore glasses, but one of them dropped their glasses off. Somebody stepped on it, and then he had to spend the rest of the weekend without glasses. Get back to school and try to get some new glasses. Found that they couldn't buy the glasses because they were college kids and they were broke. Right? The glasses were expensive. So he spent the rest of the semester squinting and trying to get information from the board. And so at that point, they made up their mind that no one ever again should have to go through the pain of squinting for an entire semester because they couldn't afford the glasses. Right? So that was the origin story of Warby Parker. That's the origin story of Warby Parker. Here's what I want you to do. Even if you have not started a business yet, I want you to have a sheet of paper. I want you to have a notebook. I want you to have something where you're capturing all of the different pieces, all of the different times that you went through something hard, something challenging, something crazy that caused you to make a decision about what you're going to do next. I want you to write it down. It may not make sense right now. You're like, I'm still in the valley. I'm still in the messy right now. 10 years later, when you look back, you're going to be able to see a great story. And guess what that's going to be? That's going to be something that you can then share with people that will give them some idea about what your business is why you do it, where it started, and what your passions are, and even your values. Right? So this is another story type. We were not going to really talk about that. I just wanted to share brand strategic type. But if you do an origin story, here's what the origin story does. It humanizes your brand. You become human to people. It's 2024, and some of the brands that existed. So back in the day, you had the big brands. You had the Coca-Colas, you had the Pepsis, you had all of these different types of brands that were just names. Now, what does everybody want to know? They want to know who are the people behind the brand. That's why we have influencers. That's why we have people that stand out front. That's why Air Jordans are still the top selling Nike brand. Right? It's personal. There's a person behind the brand. It humanizes. So the origin story humanizes. It builds trust, and it also can communicate core values. So that's story number one. Okay? All right, so everybody say origin story. All right, good. So that's your first story. The second, so what I'd like for you to do is, as you think about your origin story, think about the challenge that you went through. Think about the thing that caused you to realize, OMG, I need to make a change. I need to do something different. And then what was that thing that you did different? And you share that with people, and then you can make a subtle call to action, like something simple. I'll give you an example in just a little bit. The second story type that I want you to share and use in your business is a customer story. I want you to tell and share a customer story, capture a customer story. Now, some of you may call that testimonials. Okay, testimonials is one way to look at it, but it may be you sharing what happened to your customer. Okay, so as a matter of fact, if you're telling people, if you're asking people, how many of you use testimonials? How many of you have tried to use testimonials? Okay, some people. All right, give me your name. Natasha. Okay, what's your business, Natasha? Licensed nail tech. Okay, so Natasha, somebody comes, Natasha does their nails, and Natasha's like, hey, can you give me a review, or can you put a testimonial together? And that person says, I went to Natasha. She was great. Natasha did my nails. I like them. Okay, that is a testimonial. Here is what I want to have you do. I want you to use that same story framework and help your customers leave better testimonials for you. Right? So what does that look like? So if your customer has a challenge, why do they come to you, Natasha? Oh, okay. Why do you go to them? Oh, you're being so kind. People come to you because their nails are busted, right? Their nails are messy, right? They're like, oh, this don't look good. Oh, Lord, all right? It doesn't make them feel good. People, the problem, so if you were to have somebody give a testimonial, they can say something like challenge. So I was sitting at home, and I just was looking at my nails, and my nails were looking so trashy, right? Because I'm cleaning, I'm using bleach, I'm using vinegar, I'm doing all this stuff, and it's doing work on my nails. But here's the thing, I've got 3 kids, and I got to pick them up from soccer practice. I got to do all these different things, and I had no time to go find a nail tech that could help me. Here's Natasha. I realized that there was somebody that traveled around that was able to do the work that I didn't have time to do. Not only did my nails begin to look good after that, but I just felt so relaxed, because it just, imagine having somebody in your space that just soothes and takes care of you, right? So this is a customer testimonial. You guide them through the steps for a customer testimonial. You can have them do a video. There's a website called videoask.com. Right? Videoask.com, where you can give people instructions about how to leave testimonials for you. And they can leave video or written testimonials. Okay? So when you have a customer success story, and you can, I encourage you to tell a customer success story. Right? Tell about a time that a customer came to you. What happened? Right? Share an experience and then talk about what the future or the result could be based on that experience. Okay, last one. We only have a few minutes. All right, last one. Teach what you know. Give me your name one more time. Shawana? Joanna. Okay. What did you say your business was? Hair salon. Okay. So if you have a hair salon, what is it that you can teach? Okay. So let me ask you this. Outside of the students, what could you teach a potential customer? Okay. Give me an example. Hmm. Right. So you could be doing a video about, 5 minutes, 5-minute hair care treatments. Okay. For the average customer. All right. Somebody else, young lady in the beige. Give me your name. Angela. What's your business, Angela? Events and balloons. Okay. All right. What could you teach? Hmm. With regard to your business, what could you teach? Okay. So that's big. Let's get even more granular. What type of events are we talking about? Okay. Okay. So let's get even smaller. So the average customer, maybe somebody that's online that has a family, right? So maybe you might be teaching them about a birthday party or how to make the birthday party look real good on a budget, right? So I'm sharing these thoughts and these ideas because you're sitting here and we talked earlier about marketing and we're like, we don't want to market because we don't want to look crazy in front of people. We don't want to look cringy. We don't want to feel awkward, right? But if we're teaching people what we know, stuff that they already want, stuff that they come to you for, here's a couple of things that happen. Number one, they begin to be empowered. They can take care of some of the things themselves. So then some of the other services that you have, you can actually begin to charge a higher price for it. Right? You can change your pricing tiers because of that. All right. So biggest thing, if you take away nothing else from tonight, I want you to utilize video storytelling as a strategy for marketing and gaining leads. I've already shown you some of the different people that I've worked with and interviewed and some of the changes that have happened in their business simply by them deciding to take on video. Right? We're hiring different people. We're calling social media people from Fiverr and Upwork and all these different. You can simply start saying, you know what, I'm going to make videos. I'm going to share an origin story about my business. Here's what that does. That creates bond. That creates rapport. That creates trust with people. You begin to do that. People say, okay, yep. When I think about this business, when I think about consulting, I'm going to think of Stephanie. All right. Thank you for wearing your name tag. Appreciate it. All right. So you want to start creating content, video content, origin story. You can create, what was the second one that we said? Customer success story. And then start teaching simple stuff, right? 3 simple things that you can do that are going to change the amount of engagement that people have with you because they're seeing you act and share inside of your expertise. Right? So again, this storytelling framework, here's the one thing that I want to leave with you on this. So when you're teaching what you know, I want you to have a strong call to action when you're teaching. Okay? So the other ones were, hey, just give me a buzz. Hey, you can do this. When you're teaching what you know, I want you to have a strong call to action. We're having another class on such and such a date. We're releasing a new package on this date. Call us to check it out. We're having a new service launched on this date. Come down to the shop and check it out. We've got some new colors that are being released on this date. And ladies, you're going to love it because it's going to make you feel luxurious and look fabulous. Come to the store on this date. Okay? Be very specific and be strong with that. So, quick recap. Number 1, use video and story. Number 2, create your origin story and share it. Number three, create customer success stories. Number four, teach what you know. You getting value tonight? Learning anything? Good, good. All right. So here's the challenge that I have for you. Here's your challenge. Here's your challenge. And we're going to leave a few minutes for you to ask some questions. All right. I want you to create one simple video in the next 48 hours. I just saw somebody's head dip. I want you to create one simple video in the next 48 hours. Do not overthink this. Use the thing that if you leave home without it, you feel like you just lost your breath, right? You got this all the time with you. Keep it simple. Boom. Hey, y'all. I'm getting on here. And my business, I just wanted to talk to you about my business. I don't want to talk to you about my business. I want to talk to you about a challenge that I'm seeing in our community. Our community is experiencing this. And because I've been seeing this over the last 2 years, my business, I started it because I wanted to help solve this. If you're experiencing this, right? So you can simply begin to do that and begin to be consistent about it, right? So I want you to create one simple video in the next 48 hours. Then that video can be an origin or customer success story. Okay, once you do that, third thing, I want you to post it. Can I get you to give me a thumbs up if you're going to take on this challenge? Okay, I want you to post it and tag me on LinkedIn. Everybody on LinkedIn? Who's not on LinkedIn? She's like, why LinkedIn? What was that? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not, no denial. Yeah. It's advertising, but it's not, I wouldn't even use the word advertising. It's showing social engagement with some of the different communities that I'm involved with. Right? So she's like, you know, tomato, whatever, dude. Right? Right? So, but here's the thing. I think I'm role modeling because I want each of us to think about our businesses in that way. If I'm involved or if I'm selling or if I'm engaging with any community, the interactivity or the interconnectedness, we don't know where business comes from. We don't know who we can help. We don't know who we can help solve a problem for. You connect with my community and let me say it this way. How many times have you ever seen a friend of yours post something and they tag 5 people in it that you've never heard of before? But you see somebody's name and you kind of click on their name. Let me find out about this person. Ever happened to you? Yeah, right? On any social platform. This is what happens. Yes, I'm saying I'm engaging you in a challenge. Yes, there will be some visibility for my business as well, but there's also going to be visibility for what you're doing as well. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So I want y'all to take this on. Post it and tag me on LinkedIn, and then, or if you don't want to tag me, if you want to just send it to me in LinkedIn on my inbox, do that. Okay. I just want to make sure. I just want to see that you're taking this on and that you're committed to growing your business. And if there's anything that I can do to be helpful to you in that process, let's do it. Right. I learned a long time ago that if I have a business, my job is not to kind of shield it and protect it and be shy about it, because there are other people out there that have challenges, that have problems, that if I'm able to help them solve it, then I better get on top of the mountain and shout it. That's why I have a business. That's why God gifted this to me. That's why I've been anointed and appointed and put in charge of this thing, right? That's my belief. Right? So I want to encourage you to shout it, to be bold about your business. Be bold. That's how we grow this. All right. So let's do this. Let's end here. So I shared with you 3 easy video strategies tonight, right? So this is a QR code that just a little bit of feedback about tonight. Was this good? Was it valuable for you? Was it helpful for you? And it should take about 90 seconds or so to fill that out. Once you do that, you will get a download with the story framework and some of the other information from tonight. And once you have that, you can utilize it. If you've got questions about it, let's talk about it. We still got people online? Hey, y'all. Yeah, let's go. Come on, give a thumbs up. Awesome. All right. Anybody have any quick questions that you want to ask about what we walk through? Yes.
How many times or how frequently do you tell your origin story?
I tell mine all the time. I tell my origin story at least once a week. Sometimes that's online. Sometimes it's in presentations like this. Sometimes it's on videos that I've shared. And sometimes I don't talk through the entirety of it. I'll talk about a piece of it. I'll talk about where my business started because it leans into why I believe what I believe, why I do what I do, and why I'm passionate about it. And here's what happens. Some of us, we don't want to keep repeating the same story over and over again. But how many of you have seen a movie one time and then you were like, oh my God, that's a great movie, and you watch it over and over again? Right? Because it reminds you of something. It connects you to a feeling and nostalgia. It connects you to an experience. So as you tell your origin story again and again, you actually begin to be better at it, and you find little nuggets inside of it that you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize my why for doing this. Right? So keep telling it. Keep telling it. The company I told you about, Warby Parker, they have it on their website. In essence, they're telling it over and over again. It's in a visible place. Keep telling it. Any other questions? I know you got a question. She's like, nah, I'm just here for the credit. He's like, you called me out. Stop it. Okay. Give me your name again. I forgot it. You didn't say it. Give it to me now, please. Tanil. I believe it is, but I know that there are, it's a phrase that I use a lot because it's something that it's kind of a runner's analogy. As people are running, they tell you not to run upright, but lean forward so that you can then, it actually helps to balance you better as you move forward. If you're up straight, it slows you down, it slows your progress. So I want to encourage everybody to lean forward, lean in. All right. So let's land right here. Any other questions? We're good on questions? Okay. You sure, Natasha, you good? All of my information? I didn't put the program together, but yes. Yeah. So I'll put my LinkedIn on the last screen as well. So let's land here. I just really want to encourage everybody. The reason that you have a business, the reason that you've been drawn to something, the reason that something keeps popping into your mind and your brain is because you are built to do that thing. Right? I believe each of us has specific gifts, specific talents, specific abilities that nobody else in the world has in the same way that we have it. And if we decide that we're going to be shy, if we're going to hide, if we're going to go behind the scenes and just and be low key because we don't want to call attention to ourselves, what we're actually doing is denying someone else. We're robbing someone else of the opportunity to change their world and transform their lives. So whatever gift you have, whatever talent you have, whatever keeps showing up in your space, right? Some of us have grown up and we run away from things, but there's something that keeps showing up in your space no matter how far you run away from it. right? You're like, I don't want to do nails. Nail keeps showing up in your space, right? I don't want to do hair. Hair keeps so people keep calling and say, "Hey, can you come do my hair?" You're like, "I'm not doing hair no more." Yes, you are. They keep asking you. People, because your success is leaking, your gift is leaking through your pores, and people sense it. So I want to encourage you to, whatever that is, lean in and find out as much as you can about it and begin to share that story with the world. Because the world is waiting for you, it's waiting for your story. What you do is not just a money-making enterprise. It's something that was gifted to you so that you could save somebody else's life, so that you can change somebody else's life. So I want it to encourage you to continue to do that. Sometimes we have these ideas and we stop and we halt and we hesitate because we're waiting for it to be just right, and we got analysis paralysis, and we don't want to move forward because it doesn't feel just perfect. But I want to encourage you to choose progress over perfection. I want to encourage you to move forward. It's not going to be ever perfect or just right. Colin Powell, who was one of the generals of all of the armies for the United States, quite often they have to make decisions in battle. And in the heat of the moment, in battle, Colin Powell said, listen, we had to make decisions with 40% of the information. Because if we waited for it to be perfect, if we waited till we got 100% of the information, then the battle would be lost. What battle are you fighting? Are you waiting for 100%? Or are you willing to move forward with what you have right now? The world is yours. The world's waiting for you. And I encourage you to take every moment and share it with someone else so that you can transform their lives. God bless y'all. It's been fantastic hanging out with you. If you want to get connected, let's get connected on LinkedIn, and let's have some conversations. If I can be a benefit or a blessing or a help to you in any way, please let me know. All right?